It's about understanding and correcting the systems underneath: your metabolic rate, your gut, and your hormone signaling, as well as your muscle mass, and building a plan around your...
Welcome to Health Decoded, your number one source for real health information, with your hosts, Dr. Alessi and Matt Tack.
Health Decoded listeners, if you're dealing with bloating that just won't go away, no matter what you eat, no matter what you try, I need you to hear this. The bloating isn't the problem. It's a signal. Every external symptom you're experiencing, the discomfort, the fatigue, the frustration, has a root cause. And in my years of clinical practice, it almost always leads back to the gut. Nothing else in your body can fully heal until that foundation is restored. I built this framework from my own health journey. I was that patient, frustrated, dismissed, searching for answers. I took everything I learned, refined it through years of clinical testing, and have since helped hundreds of patients achieve complete relief from their symptoms. That became the Total Gut Reset, a step-by-step protocol with one goal: reset your gut in 6 months or less. If you're ready to learn exactly what's causing your symptoms and eliminate them for good, I'm hosting a free webinar where I walk you through the entire framework. The link is in the show notes. Go ahead and register, and I'll see you there.
Welcome back to Health Decoded. I'm your host, Dr. Alessi. Over the last 2 episodes of this mini-series, we've covered why chronic dieting suppresses your metabolism and why your gut and hormones might actually be working against your fat loss even when your diet looks perfect on paper. Today, we're going to finish this series with the piece that actually builds lasting results, because understanding the problem is great, but it doesn't fix it without a solution. You need something that actively works in your favor day and night, whether you're exercising or not. And that thing is muscle. I'm going to make the case today that building muscle isn't a bodybuilding goal. It's the single most powerful lever you have for sustainable fat loss and longevity. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how we approach this with our patients, from protein intake to Thermogenics, and what a real comprehensive program could look like. This is Health Decoded. I'm Dr. Alessi. Let's get at it. So here's a fact that changes how most people think about fat loss once they actually understand it. Muscle tissue is metabolically active even at rest. Every pound of muscle that you carry burns more calories per day at rest than a pound of fat tissue. It's not a massive difference per pound, but multiply that across pounds of muscle gained over months and years, and you're talking about meaningfully higher metabolic rate, one that works for you while you sleep, while you're at your desk, while you're doing nothing. This is why build muscle is a fundamentally different strategy than eat less. Eating less fights your metabolism, as we covered in episode 1. Building muscle raises your metabolic ceiling. It's anabolic, which means building, and it's a process, and an anabolic process is the opposite of catabolic, which is breaking down. And that's the state of chronic restriction that puts your body into. So there's a second reason muscle matters that gets less attention. Muscle is your primary site of glucose disposal. When you eat carbohydrates, a large portion of that glucose gets shuttled into the muscle tissue to be used or stored as glycogen. More muscle mass means more storage capacity and better insulin sensitivity, which, remember from episode 2, is directly tied to your ability to lose fat rather than store it. Someone with more muscle mass can actually handle carbohydrates more effectively than someone with less, even at the same body weight. And there's a longevity piece here too, which matters beyond just fat loss. Muscle mass is one of the strongest predictors of healthy aging and metabolic resistance. Sarcopenia, which is age-related muscle loss, is associated with declining metabolic health, increased frailty, and worse outcomes across nearly every chronic disease category we can track. Building muscle now isn't just about how you look or even your metabolic rate today. It's protecting your metabolic health for decades to come. So here's the strategic shift I want you to make. Stop thinking of exercise, particularly strength training, as something you do to burn calories during the workout. The workout itself burns relatively few calories compared to what a pound of muscle does for you every single day, compounded for the rest of your life. Muscle is the asset. The workout is just how you build it. Now, building and maintaining muscle requires adequate protein. And I want to be direct. Most people, especially people who've spent years dieting, are not eating nearly enough. Protein does several things that matter directly for fat loss. It has the highest thermic effect of food of any macronutrient, meaning your body burns more calories digesting and processing protein than it does processing carbohydrates or fat. It's also the most satiating macronutrient, which directly helps with hunger dysregulation we talked about in episode 1. It's very difficult to overeat chicken breast. Very easy to overeat a bag of chips. And critically, protein provides the amino acids necessary for muscle protein synthesis. Without adequate protein, you simply cannot build or even maintain muscle, regardless of how well designed your training is. This matters even more during fat loss phases because when you're in a calorie deficit, your body is actually more likely to break down muscle tissue for energy if protein intake is insufficient, which is exactly the outcome you do not want. Adequate protein during a deficit signals your body to preferentially use fat stores for energy and preserve that muscle instead. This is also directly connected to reverse dieting, which we covered in episode 1. When we're rebuilding someone's metabolic rate, protein and carbohydrate increases are prioritized specifically because protein supports the muscle building, metabolically active tissue we're trying to build, not just adding calories indiscriminately. So let's talk about thermogenics now, because this is an area with a lot of marketing and not a lot of honest explanation. Thermogenic compounds work by modestly increasing your metabolic rate or supporting fat oxidation through various mechanisms. Some affect the sympathetic nervous system, some support mitochondrial function directly. Compounds in this category that have actually reasonable evidence behind them are things like caffeine, green tea catechins, and capsaicin from chili peppers, among a few others. But here's the honest clinical take. Thermogenics are modest support tool, not really a strategy. They're not going to overcome a suppressed metabolism from chronic dieting. They're not going to fix a gut hormone signaling problem, and they're not a substitute for building muscle. Where they can help is as an additional lever layered on top of an actual foundation. Adequate protein, resistance training, healthy gut and hormones, now these can be effective. Not as a replacement for any of those, but as an addition. And the only reason I really bring this up is because it's the piece people want to reach for first because it's the easiest and it's the thing people think matters without having everything else in place. And the marketing around it is just in your face 24/7. So if somebody comes to me and they're primarily asking about fat burners, that's usually a sign that we need to have a conversation about muscle and protein and fundamental strategy. Let me kind of like wrap some of this up with another patient story, and because I think this ties this whole mini series together. So this patient, Denise, came to us in her mid-40s after the pattern that we described in episode 1, which looks like years of dieting, metabolism that had now adapted downward. And after episode 2, she had some gut and hormone signaling issues alongside it. We didn't start with just diet. We started with reverse dieting to rebuild her metabolic rate. We addressed her gut inflammation first, and once her system had stabilized, we built a resistance training program focused specifically on building muscle, with her protein intake set meaningfully higher than she'd ever eaten in her life, something that initially felt counterintuitive to her. Over the following months, her body composition changed in a way that dieting alone had never achieved for her. She lost fat while her strength and muscle mass increased. Now, she didn't lose as much weight, numbers on a scale, as she had wanted, but her overall look of her body, her skin was more tight to her frame. She had more lean, kind of peeled look. Her resting metabolic rate, which we retested, had actually gone up. Her energy was better. And unlike every previous diet she'd done, this was something that she could actually sustain because it wasn't restrictive. It was actually rebuilding a system that was working for her, not against her. And so here's kind of an example of what a program could look like, right? And what it means when I use the word program is that we're not just doing a bunch of random things. We're actually specifically phasing things out. What is the first thing that needs to happen? If anyone's ever rebuilt or redone a home, and done some DIY projects, oftentimes you have to tear things down first, build a stable, solid foundation, and then rebuild around it. And so here's what I want you to take away from this entire series that I've done. Sustainable fat loss isn't about finding the right diet. It's about understanding and correcting the systems underneath: your metabolic rate, your gut, and your hormone signaling, as well as your muscle mass, and building a plan around your actual physiology instead of just a generic template. And that's exactly what we do and why we built our Ascend Metabolic Rebuild Program the way that we did. It's not a meal plan and a workout PDF. It actually starts with real data, a DEXA scan, so we know your actual body composition, not just a bathroom scale number that can't tell fat from muscle or water. It includes comprehensive lab testing, looking at thyroid markers, hormone panels, inflammatory and gut markers that we talked about, so we know what's actually happening inside your body instead of guessing. And then from there, we build personalized programming based on your specific data, not a generic protocol. And because we know information without follow-through doesn't change outcomes, it includes ongoing accountability coaching. So this becomes something you actually sustain, not just something you understand intellectually for 25 minutes and then you forget it next week. So if anything in this series, the metabolic adaptation, the gut hormone piece, or what we just covered on muscle and protein, sounds like you or your situation or someone you know, I'd encourage you to book a discovery call with our team. We'll talk about where you actually stand and whether the Ascend Metabolic Rebuild Program is the right fit for you. There's no pressure in that call. It's just a conversation, not a sales pitch. But if you spent years doing everything you were told and not getting the results you deserve, I think you'll find it actually worth having and very informative. I want to thank you so much for listening the last few weeks on this series. This is Health Decoded, and I'm Dr. Alessi. If you want to talk about the Ascend Metabolic Rebuild Program, there's a link in the show notes to book a discovery call. Please share this with anyone you know that may be interested, may be needing to hear this, has been struggling, has voiced concerns. That's the only way we really spread the message of functional health and how we're helping people change their lives every single day. Follow this show, subscribe, check us out on YouTube for the video piece, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Health Decoded. God bless you.
Thank you for tuning in to Health Decoded, where we break down the truth about all things health and empower you to take charge of your well-being. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. For more resources, personalized support, or to have your questions answered live on the show, visit Ascend Functional Health and head to the contact page to connect with us directly. Until next time, stay curious, stay empowered, and remember, your health is in your hands.